Never imagined when we first set these up, we had a winter edition for this, so that's pretty amazing. So let's talk about what's going on. 2012, last year, was a record year for new construction in town, a little over $21 million in new valuation. It's the largest year ever. 64 single-family permits, 81 duplex permits. Lincoln Estates, Caden Properties is the major contributor to that. And we had a little over $2 million of commercial valuation, which is the largest since '06. We're going to have a grocery store here in town. So there's some particulars on that. It's about 16,000 square feet, located near Legacy Bank. We'll have a couple additional storefronts, estimated value of $3.5 million, opening next year. You'll be able to get your drive-up coffee through there. There's a site plan and a picture of the building. And we have a number of subdivisions going on in town. Those are all listed here. Wisteria Heights, Arbor Ridge, Renault Ridge, Effner Estates. Renault Ridge is just to the west of here. If you know where the four-way stop is, where the library is, it's just across the street a little bit to the north. So this is a 69 lot plat, and 34 lots will be built out or developed this year. Effner Estates is a little to the west of that. 29 lots in that plat. Arbor Ridge across and a little bit south of the high school. 24 lots, and they're thinking about building that out next year. Wisteria Heights, which is on the east side of the highway, is bringing in another 20 lots this year. That's near 80th Street. And we've been contacted by people about additional residential plats, and so I think by the end of this year, we're going to have some more plats here in town that we don't have plans for quite yet. Now, this normally isn't something you put on one of these presentations, but if you notice, this is an article that was in the Register recently. If you notice the first sentence there was only 2 communities that had valuation improvements last year, Bondurant and Elkhart. So we're pretty happy that in spite of all the tough times that the housing market's had, that the valuations in this town anyway are still going up. So that's a good sign for anybody that's building or looking to sell a home here in town. Thank you to People's Company for putting this information together. I think it puts the town in a pretty good light. The new construction month supply is one of the lowest in the metro area, so builders like to be here because it doesn't take them long to sell a home once they build it. Probably the major event this year is going to be the WRA sewer connection, the 36-inch line, about a $16 million project, and we'll be able to put our wastewater lagoons out of business. Sludge removal will be next year, and I think our Public Works Department is going to have a party when this gets done, because running a wastewater plant is not something that you probably aspire to do. Or if you think you should or want to aspire to that, I'd suggest you don't do it. It's a pain. So we will be so happy to get rid of those lagoons and lift stations at the end of this year. This intersection right here is 62nd Street here, and Highway 65. This is the Get and Go grocery store. There will be a set of traffic signals and turn lanes installed in that starting later this year, about $765,000, and it appears that state and federal funds are going to pay the vast majority of that cost. So that's great for the town that we're going to have a signalized intersection and have only a minimal component of the cost of that. We're going to have a Freedom Rock here in town. Not everybody has a Freedom Rock. In fact, the only Freedom Rock in Polk County, at least for now, is going to be in Bondurant. So it's going to be at the Legion Hall just west of here as you're going toward Ankeny. It should be here in June. So we're happy about that. This is our trailhead, which is just literally outside the back door here. It's part of the Chautauqua Valley Trail, or will be part of the Chautauqua Valley Trail when everything is completed. It's on this board right over here. Construction started last year. It's going to finish this year. And I have to give a shout out to our major sponsor, Prairie Meadows. They were gracious enough to award the city a $250,000 grant towards the trail and the trailhead. So thank you, Prairie Meadows. That was wonderful. And this is the building that's going to be on the trailhead. It's about 80%, 90% done now. It's right literally outside the back door here. Designed by SVP Architects. They have a long thank you. It's a beautiful building. It's a shelter in the front end here and restrooms in the back end. So it'll be part of the trail. This map here shows the trail, and I'll get to that in a second. So there is the trailhead shelter. It's built to resemble the original Bondurant Railroad Depot. Building cost about $200. The whole area completed will be about $350. And the State of Iowa Resource Enhancement Protection Program, REAP, is putting about $150,000 into this and trail paving. So people continue asking me, well, how's the trail connect? Okay, so here we go. Here's Bondurant right here. The paving that the city's responsible for is out on this end, and this is where the trail starts now on 88th Street. So Polk County Conservation is responsible for this trail paving here. This will be done later this year and next year. It's on the old Union Pacific rail line. This piece of paving right here is being installed by Polk County Conservation in the city of Ankeny this year. And when all this is done, all these trails will be connected into all the Des Moines area trails down here, and also up over to the High Trestle Trail, which goes out to the west in that direction. So all these trails in another 16, 18 months are going to be connected, so that'll be a pretty neat event. We've also started the journey for building a community center and recreation center. Not quite exactly sure what it's going to be yet, but these are examples of similar facilities from other communities. We took a tour last week of a couple of them, and I think in the next, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say in the next 5 or 6 years there is going to be something here. Don't know exactly what it's going to be yet. It would be fantastic if it would include a pool. Don't know if that's realistic or not, but we're thinking about it. So these are just a couple of options of what could be built. $3 million, $4 million, $5 million options. You can see the number of square feet that are involved in each one of those options. We've just started the process of trying to narrow this down. We've hired SVPA to help with that process. Sure would be nice to end up with a $5 million option over here, but not sure if that's what we're going to get or not, but we're going to get something. We've just completed a Parks Master Plan. It will be adopted by the City Council on Monday. It's this board right over here is some of the major pieces of it. It'll feature 2 new entries to the city where the Casey store is now. That area is going to be reconstructed, well, I should say reconstructed, it'll be improved. And also the entry at the east end of town on 2nd Street where it meets Highway 65, there'll be some improvements on that property also. The tax rate for the town. We've been knocking it down every year, and we're going to keep doing that. We've taken a nickel out of the tax rate every year, and I think we're going to continue to do that. I don't see why we can't continue doing that. We've received a fair amount of grant funds over the last couple of years, and this is just a listing of some of them. Actually, it's a listing of all of them, I believe. We've gotten federal dollars, state dollars, several contributions from Prairie Meadows. FEMA and the state paid for the storm shelter safe room, which is located at the ball fields at the east end of town. They paid about 70% of the cost of that. This first one here, Iowa DOT, $500,000. That's going toward the traffic signals I was talking about a minute ago. So the total since '09 is about $2.1 million, and we just learned on Tuesday of this week that we will probably get another $300,000 toward trail paving from the Des Moines area MPO. So we might as well round it up to $2.5 million. So we've been pretty aggressive about trying to obtain grants, and the last couple of years has done pretty well in that respect. So Eastern Polk County is doing just fine. Fred will tell you that. I'll steal some of his what he's going to talk about here. Pleasant Hill's got their warehouse project. Altoona, everybody wants to build their data storage facility in Altoona, I guess now. So Bondurant, we've got good residential growth. The WRA connection is going to be here this year, which is going to make sewering of new areas of town possible. The grocery store will be here. Peggy's going to talk about the next 2 things. And then we're going to have a rec center here, I'm gonna say in 5 or 6 years. So, there's a lot going on for a little town of 4,300 people here. So, and if you are in the development business and you're not part of it, you should become part of it, because it's going to be a good place to be, I think, for a long time. So, that's what I have to say. Thank you.